Han Dynasty era. The law began to be strictly enforced across the entire population. Numerous prohibitions were imposed, with penalties ranging from imprisonment and exile to execution by beheading. During this time, gold and silver were also established as the official currency of the empire. Chaos broke out at the Fennec brothel. A city guard arrived at the scene to investigate the death of a young singer. When the guard asked who the perpetrator was, the girl pointed to the son of an official from a shoe shop. The guard firmly stated that all evidence and witnesses had been gathered, leaving the culprit with no way to deny the crime. That person was Mengdu, the official's son. Despite being cornered, he showed no fear and instead challenged the city guard. Surrounded by several of his subordinates, they began mocking the guard. Mengdu attempted to fight back, but his guards ultimately met the same fate. Mengdu was placed into a coffin while unconscious and dragged to the city court where a crowd had already gathered, waiting to pass judgment on him. Although the city guard tried to calm the mob, it turned out to be part of Mengdu's scheme. His men managed to free him while striking the guard. They later arrived at the city magistrate's office. Mengpo, the father of the troublesome young man, immediately bribed Magistrate Zhang Wenshan with a jug full of silver. With a smile, Zhang decided to postpone the investigation and release Mengdu. The guard protested, arguing that the decision violated the law, as the evidence and witnesses clearly proved the crime and that the perpetrator should be imprisoned. However, Zhang scolded him and handed him a piece of silver as hush money. Feeling powerless, the guard later went to meet the victim to apologize. The girl vented her anger and declared that the city guard was completely useless. This guard was named Xue Bu Yi, a man who had served for 10 years while silently suppressing his anger the entire time. The story continued at a small noodle shop owned by Yin Ernyang. Bu Yi was a loyal customer who always ordered the same bowl of noodles without ever changing his choice. That day, the landlord Wei came to visit, and Ernyang quickly handed over the rent. She would likely only be able to stay there for one more month. Although we asked her not to leave, Ernyang honestly admitted that the rent was too expensive and that she could no longer afford it. Having long harbored feelings for her, we proposed that she become his second wife. Bu Yi tried to stop him, but his action provoked Wei's anger. We challenged him, saying that if Bu Yi truly wanted to help, he should pay 3 months' rent in advance, totaling 30 taels. Bu Yi checked his money pouch, but it was not enough. Intending to humiliate him, we pointed to a jar of soy sauce, saying that finishing one jar would be worth 1 tael. Although Ernyang tried to stop him, Bu Yi stubbornly forced himself to drink the soy sauce. She grew upset and continued trying to stop him, while we mocked him, telling him not to act up if he was poor. Even though Bu Yi knew his limitations, he was determined to protect Ernyang's shop because he loved her. On the same day, Bu Yi went to the residence of Magistrate Zhang, who was playing ball with his guards. While waiting patiently, a goalpost nearly collapsed due to one of the guards, but Bu Yi quickly held it up. Despite being repeatedly humiliated by those present, he remained silent and patient. When Zhang finally asked his purpose, Bu Yi requested additional work. Remembering Bu Yi's reputation as a rigid and honest man, Zhang mocked him before eventually agreeing to give him a job, on the condition that he first washed the dirty laundry. Bu Yi was eventually assigned a side job guarding a logistics warehouse. Commander Huan, the head guard there, explained their responsibilities. Due to a massive flood in the Heidong region near the village, the imperial court had sent relief funds amounting to 500,000 taels, which were now stored in the warehouse. The guards worked in pairs, with shifts rotating every 12 hours, and no mistakes would be tolerated. After the briefing, all the guards dispersed. Night fell, and Bu Yi was paired with a man named Tai, who claimed he had just transferred from the southern region. Upon entering the warehouse, they found Commander Huan accepting bribes. Tai received several taels of silver and tried to share them with Bu Yi. He also mentioned the involvement of many rice merchants from Linsu. Not long after, Bu Yi felt a stomachache and went to the restroom. When he returned and greeted Commander Huan, the man did not respond, because he was already dead. Bu Yi immediately checked inside the warehouse and discovered that all the guards had been killed. He saw several strangers carrying away chests of money, along with another mysterious figure. Bu Yi then chased after Tai, who tried to stop him, leading to a fierce fight. Tai escaped across the rooftops using exceptional lightness skills, while Bu Yi pursued him from below until he managed to intercept and beat him. When other city guards arrived, Bu Yi reported the incident. However, to his shock, he was arrested as well. When Magistrate Zhang arrived, he accused Bu Yi of conspiring with the thieves. Inside the prison, Bu Yi was tortured to force a confession, while Zhang presented a prepared confession document. Magistrate Zhang Wenshan insisted that Bu Yi was the culprit. Although Bu Yi defended himself and claimed he was not a criminal, Zhang proceeded to read out the verdict. Xue Bu Yi, a city guard of Pingyang, was declared to have colluded with thieves to embezzle 30,000 taels of silver. Bu Yi continued to deny the accusation, questioning the logic behind it since he was the one who had captured the thief. Zhang's claim that Bu Yi was the only survivor only fueled the guard's anger. He realized that everything had been planned and immediately cursed at Zhang. Bu Yi was then forced to sign a confession document with a blood seal. Just as the document was validated and Bu Yi was about to be executed, a man named Li Zhen appeared, claiming to be an inspector from Hedong province. He declared that he would take over the case and ordered everyone to leave. Zhang refused, arguing that the suspect had already confessed. City Judge Yang Shui also arrived and insisted that the case could not be overturned. Suddenly, a shout echoed as Chief Justice Huang Shi Ning arrived, silencing everyone. Bu Yi was asked to give his testimony, and he revealed everything. There were 3 main suspects. Li Zhen then explained his suspicions about the large number of guards, including those stationed in secret as well as the shift rotation system, yet all of them still ended up dead. Bu Yi described a bearded man who claimed to have come from the south. The man was often seen writing things down, which Bu Yi believed was a method of marking locations. He had personally witnessed this guard moving the silver and was certain that he had leaked the positions of the other guards. According to Bu Yi, the man they had captured possessed extremely swift movements, while another perpetrator had immense strength, capable of crushing the bones of the dead guards. Bu Yi also suspected Magistrate Zhang Wenshan, as the magistrate had accused him without hesitation. A surprising fact was revealed: Huang Shi Ning, the Chief Justice, was Bu Yi's former teacher. The imperial court had established the institution to train talented warriors, and Bu Yi was part of its first generation. When Huang asked about his condition, Bu Yi apologized, feeling that he had tarnished his teacher's reputation. Li Zhen immediately removed Bu Yi's shackles, and it was revealed that Bu Yi himself had once chosen to leave the training grounds. Bu Yi asked for one more chance, which Huang granted on the condition that he successfully capture the thieves. The captured suspect under interrogation was Fei Lang, a wanted criminal. Despite being whipped, he remained silent and even mocked them. Li Zhen stopped Bu Yi and attempted his own method by pressing on a rib wound connected to internal organs, causing unbearable pain. Huang Shi Ning remarked that Bu Yi had once only passed the capture examination but failed in interrogation and punishment. He considered Bu Yi too soft-hearted and compassionate, though he hoped that this had changed over time. Bu Yi finally applied Li Zhen's method, causing Fei Lang immense pain until he confessed. He named 2 accomplices, the 7-faced fox and the 9-patterned dragon, who had hired him. The bearded man was the fox. When Bu Yi pressed further, asking whether Magistrate Zhang Wenshan and Judge Yang Shui were behind them, Fei Lang claimed he did not know. After Bu Yi gathered the information and reported it, Li Zhen executed the prisoner. Huang Shi Ning had already suspected the involvement of the magistrate and the judge, but arrests could not yet be made due to insufficient evidence. They needed to capture the other 2 suspects first. The teacher advised Bu Yi to change his approach, becoming more decisive and ruthless in order to uphold the law. The next morning, before starting the investigation, Bu Yi invited Li Zhen to breakfast as a gesture of gratitude. Li Zhen said it was unnecessary, as Bu Yi's name was often mentioned at the training grounds as a talented and exceptional student. He wondered why Bu Yi had not married and had instead chosen to remain a lowly city guard. Huang explained that it was due to Bu Yi's stubborn nature and that he must now make the most of the opportunity given to him. Bu Yi needed to prove his resolve. The investigation began by tracing the distribution of silver marked with a special seal, making it impossible to use freely. Considering the large amount and the limited number of smelting facilities, they suspected the existence of a hidden warehouse. Upon arriving at the suspected location, they broke in and found only low-level workers. When the leader acted arrogantly, Bu Yi showed his identity and beat him. While listing his crimes, Bu Yi presented a sketch of the fox, but the man claimed ignorance. Inside, Bu Yi saw enslaved workers and immediately freed those who had been tortured. The flood victims begged for help, revealing that they had been forced to work. As Bu Yi was about to leave with Li Zhen, he returned and brutally beat the warehouse leader after hearing him vent his anger on the workers. The second lead brought them to a restaurant, where Huang Shi Ning was waiting along with the landlord Wei. Huang introduced Li Zhen and Bu Yi as his students. He then revealed that the raided illegal warehouse belonged to Wei, causing the man's face to turn pale. Li Zhen took out a financial ledger and demanded information on all of Wei's warehouses in Pingyang City. Although Wei claimed that the warehouses belonged to his tenants, Huang pressured him to recall the truth. As revenge for the earlier incident, Bu Yi forced Wei to continuously drink soy sauce until he gave in and wrote down the full list of his illegal warehouses. Li Zhen, Bu Yi, and their forces raided every warehouse without exception. They reported to Huang that all the silver had been melted into new forms. Strong evidence of involvement by Pingyang officials was discovered. Huang gave them 3 days to capture the 2 main culprits. Suspicion fell on Mengdu and his son, Mengdu. When confronted, they arrogantly tried to drive Bu Yi and Li Zhen away. However, after Bu Yi presented the silver as evidence and beat them, Mengdu finally confessed that the silver had come from a dye house. Although he initially claimed ignorance, under torture, he described the perpetrator, pointing to the 9-patterned dragon. As Li Zhen was about to leave, Bu Yi, remembering Mengdu's vile actions toward the girls, picked up a sword and handed it to him. Li Zhen understood Bu Yi's intention. He was harboring resentment toward the young man. He agreed to let Mengdu fight back. Bu Yi then swung his sword, inflicting a wound similar to the one suffered by Mengdu's victim. Afterward, they arrived at the dye house. The workers were busy stirring vats and coloring fabric. As he observed the scene, Bu Yi noticed someone whose hands looked incredibly strong while wringing cloth, a clear sign of a martial artist. The moment Bu Yi called him out, the man immediately attacked, killing several officers using cloth before attempting to escape. Bu Yi and Li Zhen worked together to confront the formidable 9-patterned dragon. Although he briefly vanished, Bu Yi managed to track him down again, and together they successfully captured him. However, just as they were about to take him away, the 9-patterned dragon was killed by an arrow. The attacker quickly fled, and the officers lost his trail while trying to pursue him. In the midst of the chaos, Bu Yi grew suspicious of a woman whose appearance stood out. He decided to follow her to a shop. Suddenly she attacked. She was the 7-faced fox. Bu Yi greeted his old enemy in a place filled with fireworks. Although he managed to corner her, an explosion erupted, allowing the fox to escape, leaving behind a pouch of money. That night, Bu Yi brought his fellow guards to eat at Ernyang's shop, but she remained cold toward him. Li Zhen teased Bu Yi about her anger, and they discussed how difficult it was to track the fox due to her ability to disguise herself. When one of Li Zhen's men wanted to report something privately, Bu Yi had to step aside. He realized that the respect he was receiving was only because of his association with Li Zhen, so he resolved to prove himself by capturing the fox on his own. The next day, Bu Yi began his solo investigation. He went from shop to shop, asking about the origin of the jewelry pouch he had found, but he got no results until evening approached. Finally, at a shop whose owner was absent, he found a wooden doll. He recalled that the fox used to carve similar dolls. A boy suddenly appeared, claiming the doll was his and even showing more of his collection. Not long after the shop owner arrived, he was the fox in disguise, looking for his child. Bu Yi assured him that the boy was safe, but since the child was now under Bu Yi's control, the fox had no choice but to surrender. At the court office, Huang Shi Ning was reprimanding Li Zhen for failing to locate the suspect. Suddenly, Bu Yi appeared, bringing the 7-faced fox, whom he had already interrogated. It was revealed that the mastermind behind everything was Judge Yang Xue. Hearing this, Li Zhen immediately rushed out, while Huang Shi Ning, intrigued, asked Bu Yi to explain how he had managed to capture the fox. Bu Yi explained that he had searched from one shop to another until he found the fox's child. Huang Shi Ning needed assurance that the suspect's testimony would remain consistent in court, and Bu Yi was confident that, with the child in custody, the fox would comply. All troops under Huang Shi Ning's command were immediately gathered. Realizing that Yang Xue would likely already know about the fox's capture, they moved quickly to surround his residence. The raid began, and one by one, the guards were killed. Magistrate Zhang Wenshan, who was present, grew terrified at the situation. Surrounded, he was immediately pressured by Bu Yi. On Huang Shi Ning's orders, he was executed. Huang Shi Ning then entered to confront Yang Xue. Despite knowing he was cornered, Yang Xue still pretended ignorance about their purpose. Huang Shi Ning firmly stated that their actions were for the sake of law and justice, as all the evidence was clear. However, Yang Xue remained calm, believing he still had protection. Soon after, the Grand Inspector from the capital arrived. Huang Shi Ning immediately presented all the evidence of Yang Xue's crimes related to the massive silver theft case and requested that the fox be brought in to testify. In front of everyone, the fox confessed to infiltrating the logistics warehouse, slaughtering the guards, and stealing the silver under Yang Xue's orders, who intended to bring down other officials. With his child at stake, the fox also revealed the locations of other stolen treasures: the luminous cup from Yanqi Pavilion, the golden Buddha statue from Shaoyun Tower, and the blue jade from the tomb of a Han king. The officers who conducted the search found all the evidence in Yang Xue's residence. With undeniable proof, the Grand Inspector could no longer defend him and handed the case entirely over to Huang Shi Ning before leaving. Yang Xue tried to remain composed and served tea to Huang Shi Ning, admitting that he was merely a pawn seeking to negotiate. However, after drinking the tea, Huang Shi Ning suddenly killed Yang Xue, while Li Zhen also executed the fox. Bu Yi stood there, stunned and confused by what had just happened. The officers quickly fabricated a report stating that Yang Xue had committed suicide out of fear of punishment, while the fox had been killed while attempting to escape. At that moment, Bu Yi realized Huang Shi Ning's true nature behind his dignified facade. All the wealth in Yang Xue's residence was seized for their own gain. When Li Zhen handed him a piece of silver, Bu Yi unintentionally asked if they were dividing stolen loot. His question made everyone, including his teacher, stare at him sharply, forcing Bu Yi to quickly regain control of the situation. Seeing the massive pile of silver, Bu Yi eventually took his share. Li Zhen then made it clear that Bu Yi was now part of their group. Huang Shi Ning wanted Bu Yi to accompany them to the capital, believing that his career would not progress in this city, and he did not want his student to regret it later. Not long after, Huang Shi Ning gave the order to eliminate the fox's child, considering him no longer useful. At the detention site, Bu Yi tried to seek help from an old acquaintance, asking him to find a corpse of similar size to fake the child's death and save him. However, it was too late. Li Zhen was already there. He warned Bu Yi not to act foolishly by defying their teacher's orders. Despite Bu Yi's pleas, Li Zhen stood firm, and the two engaged in a fierce fight that awakened the child. Bu Yi told the boy to run while their swords clashed once more. He pleaded one last time in the name of their brotherhood, asking Li Zhen to help him just this once. But Li Zhen refused to let his target go. Li Zhen chased after the boy while Bu Yi continued to block his path. In the middle of the pursuit, the child fell after being struck by a piece of wood. The two then unleashed their signature kung fu techniques, leaving both of them injured, though Li Zhen still seemed to be holding back his blade. He reminded Bu Yi that their hands had long been stained with blood just to survive, but Bu Yi argued that things were different now. The fight continued until Li Zhen succeeded in killing the boy. He then declared that he would report to their teacher that it was Bu Yi who had executed the child. Unable to accept the loss of an innocent life, Bu Yi attacked Li Zhen in a rage and was ultimately forced to kill him. Li Zhen died on the spot, while Bu Yi staggered away before collapsing on the road due to his severe injuries. 3 days later, wanted posters bearing Bu Yi's face were spread everywhere, accusing him of murdering imperial officials. A group of beggars, flood victims, found Bu Yi and intended to turn him in, but they were stopped by someone Bu Yi had once saved while working at the logistics warehouse. The other refugees eventually relented. The man, now unable to speak, asked Bu Yi to recognize him and then took him to a dilapidated old house to hide and find food. As Bu Yi was about to pick up a mat, he was startled by the sudden appearance of the landlord Wei. It turned out that Wei had also become a fugitive after Judge Yang Xue was sentenced, though he had managed to escape. He explained that Huang Shi Ning had now become extremely powerful, taking full control of Pingyang City since no other officials remained. He also claimed that Bu Yi was at fault for once serving under Huang Shi Ning. When the man who had helped Bu Yi returned with food, we revealed a disturbing rumor that the flood victims were going to be used as sacrifices. Yang Xu's entire family had already been killed, but for Huang Shi Ning that was not enough. He intended to fabricate a great achievement by slaughtering all witnesses connected to the case. His plan was to gather the flood victims with promises of work, then massacre them and frame them as rebels. Bu Yi felt a deep pain upon hearing this. We then offered Bu Yi a deal to accompany him to a neighboring province where he still had savings, on the condition that Bu Yi protect him along the way before they returned to rescue the remaining flood victims. Meanwhile, Yin or Niang saw the wanted posters bearing Bu Yi's face. That night, Bu Yi visited her shop for the last time. As he silently ate his noodles, he wept, unable to hold back his sorrow. The next morning, as Bu Yi and Wei prepared to leave, they saw guards opening job registrations within the officials' compound for flood victims. People in need of money rushed to sign up. Bu Yi glanced back with concern, but we urged him not to get involved and to leave immediately. In front of the government office, a police officer inspected the fake project and confirmed that the 100 gathered workers were enough to be executed that night. A false report had already been prepared, stating that on the night of Dingmao, more than 100 followers of Yang Xue had attacked the city office, forcing Chief Justice Huang Shi Ning to take decisive action to maintain order. The order was given. The confused civilians were suddenly bombarded with arrows and weapons. A massacre of innocent people erupted, and explosions began to shake the area. But from the ruins, Bu Yi emerged. After treating his wounds, he had chosen to return, unable to let such cruelty continue. He refused to keep hiding and resolved to end everything. Bu Yi cut down the guards and helped the refugees escape. He then climbed to the upper floor and eliminated all the remaining guards. Huang Shi Ning welcomed his student with the sound of a sitar and invited him to drink tea. When Bu Yi shouted, demanding to know why he had changed, Huang Shi Ning simply sighed and said that truth belonged only to the victors. Bu Yi was no longer his student, but a rebel. Furious, Bu Yi accused him of slaughtering people for wealth, but Huang Shi Ning replied that after decades of being unappreciated, he only wanted to retire in great riches. Bu Yi called him an old thief, provoking an attack from the sitar-playing girl, who was Huang Shi Ning's personal guard. In the chaos, Huang Shi Ning's spear accidentally killed his own subordinate. Enraged, he cursed Bu Yi as an ungrateful student, forcing Bu Yi back until he fell out of the room. In the narrow space outside, Huang Shi Ning's spear became difficult to use. Bu Yi ultimately managed to defeat Huang Shi Ning. Through a decisive strike, his teacher began to falter, and the two fell together as the wooden structure beneath them collapsed. When the imperial soldiers arrived, Huang Shi Ning shouted that he was the chief justice and accused Bu Yi of being the leader of the rebels. He tried to offer one last piece of advice, but Bu Yi no longer needed it. Huang Shi Ning died on the spot. As the wooden beams continued to fall, Bu Yi quickly escaped, leaving the imperial soldiers to find only Huang Shi Ning's lifeless body. 1 month later, Huang Shi Ning's entire scheme was finally exposed. We informed Bu Yi that reports from the people of Pingyang had led the imperial court to revoke Bu Yi's wanted status. We then bid farewell, planning to return to Pingyang, while Bu Yi remained silent. Now, all the flood victims had received aid, and news of Huang Shi Ning's betrayal had spread far and wide. Yin Yang, still running her noodle shop, finally realized the relentless struggle Bu Yi had endured. From that moment on, she never saw him again, as Bu Yi had resumed his journey as a wandering traveler. And that is how the movie ends. I hope you liked the summary. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching so you can stay updated with the latest content. See you in the next movie.